King Frederik of Denmark and his wife Queen Mary have been married for 20 years and have 4 children. Recently, rumors surfaced that Frederik was spending time with a beautiful blonde, sparking speculation that he was cheating on his wife. These rumors were promptly denied, and it became clear that someone was attempting to separate them. Despite the intrigue surrounding the Danish royal family, the couple managed to save their marriage and continue their love story. But who was this woman Frederik was spending time with, and who might benefit from the couple's breakup? In this video, you'll find out why Queen Mary shed so many tears during her marriage to Frederik. During the summer of 2024, King Frederik of Denmark and Queen Mary attended the Olympic Games in Paris. They participated in the ribbon-cutting ceremony to open the Danish pavilion on the Champs-Élysées, and then attended a gala dinner organized by the International Olympic Committee. Additionally, they visited the Olympic Village, where they met with Danish athletes, had lunch with participants, and attended the opening ceremony. The royal couple seems very happy. Not long ago, they celebrated 20 years of marriage. Throughout this time, they experienced many different events in their lives, both happy and dramatic. They raised 4 children and ascended the royal throne. Despite rumors in the press about their upcoming divorce, their love has always overcome many difficulties. The Olympic Games played an important role in their lives. 24 years ago, this event became the backdrop for their meeting. They first met in 2000 in Sydney during the Olympic Games. At that time, Prince Frederik was 32 years old and had a reputation as a party prince. The young and handsome monarch loved traveling, socializing with friends, and meeting new people. One evening, Prince Frederik visited the Sydney bar Sleep Inn with his brother, Prince Joachim, his cousin, Prince Nikolaus of Greece, and Princess Martha Louise of Norway, after the opening ceremony. There, they met Prince Felipe of Spain, who is Nikolaus's paternal cousin. During this visit, Frederik met his future wife, 28-year-old Australian Mary Elizabeth Donaldson, who spent time with her friend and flatmate at the bar. Prince Felipe knew the sister of Mary's flatmate, sparking a cheerful conversation between the two groups. During the conversation, Mary and her friend debated about who was more attractive, a man with a hairy chest or without, leading Frederik, Joachim, and Nikolaus to offer themselves as guinea pigs. As the evening continued, Frederik and Mary discovered they had a lot in common, such as a love of horses, adventures, and sports. However, Mary did not initially realize that her new friends were royalty, as Prince Frederik introduced himself to her simply as Fred, and did not act like a prince at all. At the end of the evening, Mary gave her phone number to her new friend. Only later did she learn that this man was actually a prince. Mary later said of their introduction, "The first time we met, we shook hands. I didn't know he was the Prince of Denmark. Half an hour later, someone came up to me and said, 'Do you know who these people are?'" Crown Prince Frederik later admitted that he felt a special connection with this girl from the first meeting and immediately realized that she was his soulmate. On the other hand, Mary did not think it was love at first sight, but admitted that they immediately connected and felt excitement after the meeting. The next day, after meeting at the bar, Frederik called Mary and thus began their long-distance relationship. They initially communicated through phone calls and emails, and Frederik began traveling to Australia to meet his girlfriend. The first year of their relationship was kept a secret, and the press, which was used to pursue Crown Prince Frederik, knew nothing about his new love. It's important to note that the prince has been in the spotlight during childhood. Frederik is the elder son of Queen Margaret II and Prince Henrik, and everyone always knew that one day he would become the King of Denmark. A rich and handsome prince has always been the dream of many girls. Therefore, before his wedding to Mary, he had many girlfriends, and his lifestyle before marriage was called wild in the press. Due to his many affairs with beautiful women, Frederik was also called the Casanova Crown Prince. In the mid-90s, one of his former girlfriends was lingerie model Katja Storkholm. Royal reporter Trine Willman claimed that Prince Frederik wanted to marry this woman, but the Queen Mother was categorically against it, so the wedding had to be called off. In 1992, the prince was in a relationship with model Malou Amand. However, they broke up after a public scandal. The couple drove together on New Year's Eve when the police stopped them. It was discovered that the girl was drunk behind the wheel and the prince was also drunk in the car. The model was detained and taken to the police station. The scandal caused such an uproar that even the Danish parliament had to intervene. The royal house issued an apology. Consequently, Prince Frederik was sent to study at Harvard after being expelled from Denmark. "I just want to live freely like any young man my age," the young crown prince said at the time. The youth of the Crown Prince of Denmark was quite eventful. He enjoyed parties, drinking, and the company of beautiful models. However, none of these relationships suited him as a future wife, as Frederik is not just an ordinary man. Being a monarch comes with a lot of responsibilities. The Danish royal family has always tried to avoid scandals. Therefore, the prince's mother, Queen Margaret II, was strongly against the idea of her son marrying a former fashion model, especially if she was a lingerie model. The concern was that her risque photos would blacken the image of the Danish monarchy if she were to become queen. For these reasons, the ideal wife for the prince would be a modest woman without a modeling background, with a good reputation and education. According to Danish royal traditions, monarchs have married non-Danish women for centuries. There is a version that Frederik was discouraged from marrying model Katja Stockholm because she was Danish, and he was advised to marry a non-Danish woman. However, such a rule doesn't exist in Denmark today. The prince's wife could also be Danish. But what mattered to the monarchy was that she had a good reputation and could represent the country well internationally. Australian Mary Elizabeth Donaldson was deemed ideal for this role. In 2001, a Danish weekly magazine first named Mary as the prince's girlfriend, and in 2003 Frederik proposed to her, and the couple officially got engaged. This only happened after Queen Margaret II approved of the union. In line with royal traditions, she gave her official approval at a meeting of the State Council. Frederik then gave Mary a ring with a diamond and 2 rubies, similar to the colors of the Danish flag. Finally, the prince had found his perfect bride. Despite being a commoner, Mary fit perfectly into the Danish royal family. It's now the 21st century, and a prince is no longer unusual to marry a non-royal person in European monarchies. Despite being a commoner, Mary was always seen as an ideal match for the prince. She was born in Australia to Scottish parents. Her father was an academic and a professor of mathematics, while her mother worked as an executive assistant to the vice-chancellor of the University of Tasmania. As the youngest of 4 children, Mary was involved in sports and music from a young age. After graduating from university, she pursued a career in marketing, working for Australian and international advertising agencies in Melbourne, as well as in the United States and Europe. When she met the prince, Mary worked as a sales director and was a management team member at a real estate firm. When she and Frederik began dating, Mary moved to Paris and worked as an English tutor at a business school. Following their engagement, she relocated to Denmark, her future husband's home country. The Danish royal family was delighted that Frederik, who had a history of dating models, had finally found a smart and down-to-earth girl from a respectable family. Their wedding was set for May 14, 2004 in the Copenhagen Cathedral. The festive followed at the Fredensborg Palace. Mary wore a wedding dress by Danish fashion designer Uffe Frank. along with a veil worn previously by Crown Princess Margarita of Sweden and then by her daughter Queen Ingrid of Denmark. The people of Denmark watched the event with excitement, witnessing a real-life fairy tale. Frederik watched with tears in his eyes as his bride walked down the aisle, accompanied by her father. His tears touched the whole world. At the reception that evening, the prince gave an incredibly emotional speech, vowing to protect her with all my heart. He also recalled their first meeting in Australia. I found myself in an unknown country among happy, festive foreigners. The joy and the strength you give me is like the sun in the daytime, which with its radiance melts all doubts and darkness on earth. Following the wedding, Mary was given the title Her Royal Highness, the Crown Princess of Denmark, making her the first Australian to become a princess in history. It seemed that Mary had fulfilled the dream of many girls in the world. An ordinary woman became the wife of a prince. However, this step was very difficult for Mary. She had to go through a lot to receive the royal title. First of all, after moving to Denmark, Mary began to learn Danish. Her native language was English. She also studied French during her secondary education. However, she had to learn Danish from scratch immediately after moving to Denmark. She also had to learn another culture and adapt to a completely new life in the royal family. Mary also accepted Danish citizenship and changed her faith to Lutheranism. For the sake of this relationship, Mary completely changed her life. She left her family, friends, work, learned a new language, and even changed her faith. The title of princess imposed many responsibilities on her. At the same time, her every step was under the close attention of the media. After her relationship with the prince became public, the couple was constantly monitored. After marrying the prince, Mary quickly realized that royal life was very different from the fairy tales she grew up with. She found herself involved in countless ceremonies and charitable events. Shortly after her wedding, she and her new husband embarked on a working tour of mainland Denmark on the royal yacht, followed by a visit to the 2004 Olympic Games in Athens. From then on, they made several international visits together and collaborated with various organizations focused on culture and humanitarian aid. In 2007, Mary established her own foundation to support people in need. A year after their wedding, Crown Princess Mary gave birth to their first child, Prince Christian, followed by the birth of 3 more children, Princess Isabella and twins, Prince Vincent and Princess Josephine. The couple chose to send their children to regular state schools to ensure that they had a normal childhood and could integrate into society. Crown Prince Frederik and Princess Mary became a model for a modern monarchy and were adored by the people for their progressive outlook. They were fans of pop music, sports, and modern art. Additionally, Mary made history as the first royal to become a patron of a major LGBT event. She is a staunch advocate for people's rights and supports minorities. That's why people love her so much. The family resided in the luxurious historical palace known as King Frederik VIII's Palace, also called Brogdorf's Palace, which is located in Copenhagen and dates back to the 18th century. Could a simple marketing woman from Australia have dreamt of such a life? The Danish prince and princess appeared to be the perfect couple in public, but their family life had the same difficulties as many other ordinary couples. Crown Prince Frederik, who had a reputation for loving to party since his youth, struggled to settle down after marriage. Even after the birth of his children, he continued to attend parties and to drink, which greatly upset his wife. For instance, during the 2008 Beijing Olympics, Frederik escorted his wife to the hotel and then went to a nightclub. He attended a Playboy-themed party with friends where there were half-naked models and alcoholic drinks. Danish tabloids at the time reported that bodyguards had to remove the intoxicated prince from the party around 3 a.m. and take him back to the hotel. According to the same publications, just 1 month before this alleged incident, Mary reportedly sent Frederik home from a nightclub in the Danish town of Skagen after becoming fed up with his boozed-up antics. The following year, author Trine Wilman released a book revealing that Frederik was a heavy drinker, which could ruin his marriage. The candid confessions in this book were later confirmed by various other reports. For example, in 2011, when Mary was pregnant with twins, Frederik was partying in a Copenhagen nightclub full of topless dancers. That same year, the prince was also seen dancing with a woman in a nightclub just a few days before the christening of his newborn twins. Tabloid magazine Se og Hør claimed that Frederik arrived at the nightclub after 1 a.m. and as 3 a.m. approached, he became increasingly drunk and insisted on dancing. It was as if Frederik had forgotten that he was the father of 2, soon 4, and that Mary sat at home, pregnant and alone, the publication writes. Despite her husband's drunken antics, Mary continued to love and forgive him. It's understandable, as she was the mother of his 4 children and had sacrificed her previous life to be with him. However, their marriage faced potential ruin in 2023 when the paparazzi photographed the Crown Prince of Denmark with a beautiful blonde. A Spanish tabloid, Hola, reported they were seen together in Madrid, visiting a gallery, having dinner, and attending a flamenco show. The publication also claimed that they returned to her apartment in the city and spent the entire night there. The tabloid provided several photos as evidence of their time together. The woman spending time with the prince is Genoveva Casanova, a Mexican actress, model, philanthropist, and former reality TV star. She was previously married to the son of the Duchess of Alba, Coetana Martinez de Irujo, but they divorced in 2007. Rumors about a possible affair between the Crown Prince of Denmark and Genoveva Casanova caused a big scandal. The Danish royal court did not comment on the reports, and Miss Casanova denied them, describing the talk of an affair as malicious and untrue. She even threatened to sue the magazine at the center of the claims. The outing reportedly occurred because a mutual friend who was originally supposed to accompany Frederik around Madrid fell ill and asked Casanova, an expert in Picasso art, to go instead. A statement from the socialite said, "I categorically deny the statements that suggest a romantic relationship between Prince Frederik and me." She added, "Any statement of this type not only completely lacks the truth, but also misrepresents the facts in a malicious manner. This is already in the hands of my lawyers, who will take care of the pertinent steps to protect my right to honor, truth, and privacy." However, despite her denials, these rumors caused a huge stir in the press, leading Genoveva to temporarily delete her Instagram blog until the hype died down. She even had to leave social life for a while to get over the stress. After the scandal, she became incredibly popular, which is great for her because she'll soon be filming another Spanish television game show. Many people doubt that Frederik was faithful to his wife, considering his wild past of being seen at nightclubs and parties and his reputation as a playboy. But I believe this scandal was staged. If Prince Frederik wanted to cheat on his wife, he would have been more discreet and not met his mistress in public places like restaurants or galleries, especially considering the constant presence of paparazzi. Following a scandal, rumors circulated in Denmark that the prince and princess were headed for divorce. However, this did not come to pass. The couple continued to attend events together and acted as though everything was fine. Furthermore, shortly after this scandal, the prince's mother, Margaret II, announced that she was stepping down from the throne in favor of her son Frederik and his wife Mary. Consequently, on January 14, 2024, Frederik was crowned as the king and Mary was given the title of Queen of Denmark. It appears that a new chapter has commenced in their family life. In light of this, rumors have surfaced in the media once more. Some royal experts believe that Margaret II specifically abdicated the throne in favor of her son to help salvage his marriage. For example, royal biographer Phil Dampier said in an interview with the Daily Mail, "I think Margaret may have worried that their marriage was in trouble, and therefore she had to act. The Queen always thought Mary was a fantastic asset to the royal family, and if she thought she might leave it, would have been a disaster. She will now hope that Frederik and Mary patch up any differences and work together as the new king and queen." The biographer added that Queen Margaret II was the first Danish monarch to abdicate in 500 years, and it must be admitted that she probably had good reasons for doing so. After all, she had previously hinted that she planned to rule until the end of her life. It seems an extraordinary coincidence that she should make this unexpected announcement just a couple of months after stories emerged of the crown prince supposedly having an affair. Dampier continued, "After Frederik and Mary became king and queen, they continued to lead their previous lives and appeared together in public again. The Danish media is very happy about this and often writes that the couple is simply glowing with love for each other. But their facial expressions tell a completely different story. The Daily Mail paid attention to their body language and came to the conclusion that there were still some problems in the couple. According to a body language expert, Mary has a cold expression on her face and often looks into the distance instead of looking at her husband, which indicates some detachment. In some photos, Mary wears sunglasses so that the public cannot read her true emotions from her eyes." But can such statements be trusted? It is difficult to tell from facial expressions what kind of relationship the couple really has, because it is possible that Mary was simply tired that day or could be angry with her husband for some other reason. The press releases about Frederik's possible betrayal have already become a big stress for the couple. Mary may be worried about the media scandal and looks sad in the latest photos. Like any married couple, Mary and Fred are going through tough times. Rumors of tension in their relationship are circulating in the palace. An unnamed insider told New Idea magazine, "There are whispers running wild of a possible divorce or split, and it's become very stressful for the whole palace trying to work out what's going on. The source of these rumors and who might benefit from their divorce remain unknown. It seems as if someone is spreading rumors about King Frederik and his wife Mary. What if someone deliberately arranged Frederik's meeting with Miss Casanova so that the press would later write about his possible betrayal of his wife? But who would want the king and queen to separate? The royal palace is full of intrigue, and the royal couple has many ill-wishers, even among their own family." It's worth noting that before the scandal involving Miss Casanova, another scandal rocked the royal family in Denmark. In early 2023, Queen Margaret II made the surprising decision to strip the children of her youngest son, Prince Joachim, of their royal titles. This decision greatly touched and offended them, and they did not hide their emotions at all. "I was informed 5 days in advance," Prince Joachim told Danish newspaper BT, "telling my kids that on New Year's Day they will be stripped of their identities. It makes me very, very sad to see them getting upset and not realizing what's going on over their heads," he continued. "We weren't happy about the way it happened," Princess Marie, Joachim's wife, said in a new interview with the Washington Post. But it's a family thing, it's complicated. The Queen explained her decision by the fact that titles can limit the opportunities of her grandchildren. She also had to take this step to simplify the structure of the royal house. The move was necessary, she said, to modernize the monarchy. She also wanted to relieve the younger family members' pressure to live normal lives without royal protocols and obligations. I have made my decision as Queen Mother and Grandmother, but as a mother and grandmother I have underestimated the extent to which much my younger son and his family feel affected. That makes a big impression, and for that I am sorry, said Margaret II. The Queen claims that she only wants the best for her grandchildren, so they will have more freedom in life without royal titles. But the family of Prince Joachim, it seems, were not at all happy with this decision, and what's more, no one asked their opinion. They were simply presented with the conclusion. This could have caused some resentment towards their mother and her beloved eldest son, Frederik. So, if you think about who might benefit from a scandal between Frederik and Mary, it turns out that it could be his relatives offended by the unfair decision of the Queen Mother. It is no secret that the brothers, Frederik and Joachim, have had a long-standing feud. Their relationship has always been tense because their mother, Queen Margaret II, always chose her eldest son, Frederik, as her favorite. This caused unpleasant feelings in Joachim, who was jealous. For many years, the brothers rarely communicated and could only be seen together at important events. Today, Prince Joachim of Denmark is fifth in line to the royal throne, after his older brother Frederik and his 4 children. Could someone from the Joachim family have contributed to the breakdown of the relationship between Frederik and his wife Mary? It is difficult to say because there is no evidence. Remember that the royal palace is a place full of secrets in the best traditions of historical novels about kings. That's all for today. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.